kind of... Oh, is Bryan just made a video like this the whole time? I think it's like super bright on the screen, but... Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about what is a program manager, because I haven't made a video on this topic since last year of the day in the life of a program manager. I was able to meet a couple people who reached out from that video and had some nice conversations on LinkedIn. So yeah, if you have any questions directly, yeah, feel free to message, happy to answer. It's been a whole year since that video, and I usually don't talk about my full-time day job just because I take most of the skill sets and apply it to my creator life. But I think it's really important because it is a big part of my life. I honestly had a lot of imposter syndrome coming into it, so I didn't think I was qualified to talk about it. But now, after a year and having at least 2 to 3 program of experience, I think I'm kind of ready to talk about. Also, we have a new person kind of onboarding on a different region. I'm kind of in charge of training him. So, you know, I was training him for the past 2 weeks and I'm continuing to train him, and I think it's now a good time to make one of these videos to really talk about all the questions that people had. But yeah, let's get into it. So what is a program manager? And I think to answer what a program manager is, we have to understand what a program is. So a program is essentially a long-term project with a lot of small projects in between that need to be completed, and it also serves a long-term strategic goal. And Bryan, what the heck does that all mean? It's okay, well, we'll go over it. Let's backtrack and talk about the programs that you may be familiar with. So let's say, for an example, a workout program, or a coding bootcamp program, or a UI UX design program. Example is like a coding bootcamp, which can be for 3 to 6 months, and after that you can get a certification for completing the bootcamp and that you're a certified coder. And then after that, you can go into the workforce and apply to coding jobs. So the program is to learn something that will benefit for a long-term thing. And so as a program manager, you're either building that program yourself and then executing it, or you're also kind of managing and doing hands-on execution of the project. So for my example, I work for a big corporation and my branch is in the partnership area, where if startups want to partner with our corporation, then they can go through this program that's like 3 to 4 months. It helps fast track the process because having a big corporation is very hectic and it gets very confusing. So my job as a program manager is to help guide that process and run the program that's 3 to 4 months, and do a lot of pre-planning and then post-planning afterwards. So we won't get so deep into it, but that's kind of like a general gist of a program manager that's in like the technical or software SaaS world. To briefly mention about technical and non-technical program managers, I am technically a non-technical program manager, so I don't usually do a lot of coding. What are my main responsibilities? So, as the program overall, some of my main responsibility, one for sure, is to lead the overall success of the program. So a lot of hands-on, making sure tracking, reporting, effective communications with our stakeholders. Stakeholders is just like important people. Maintaining the relationships that are involved in the program. And also because when you're working for a big corporation or any company that involves software, there's usually a lot of responsibility that comes with it. So maintaining a lot of relationships is important because people are probably doing their own jobs, and usually what I am is working with teams that have different responsibilities, so I need to make sure to prioritize things. Overall, to hit OKRs and KPIs, what the heck are those? OKRs are objective key results and KPIs are key performance indicators. Let's take, for example, an OKR goal for workout programs. So if you're trying to lose weight, that's your OKR, and then KPI is your actual weight, so you kind of measure over time. Very basic example. And then now we go into the day-to-day. So what do I actually do to a day-to-day? I made that in the day in the life video, but honestly, after running 3 programs, it does vary very much depending on where in the program it is. So at the pre-planning, can't talk today. At the pre-planning stage of the program, there's a lot of communication that goes on, a lot more meetings to kind of make sure that everyone is aligned. Basically it means on the same page of how the program is running and that who's going to be involved, so that we don't have like random people and we don't have the right resources that can support. So pre-planning is super important for the overall success of the program. I'll summarize it in a very basic way of how my week that I schedule. Mondays is usually what I call my game plan days, where I have a lot of meetings with my internal team, especially my team in general, my direct team and manager and supervisor, to say this is what we're gonna do. Sound good? Cool. All right, I'm gonna send out the emails with all the action items and action plan. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are a lot of meetings to check in with the cohort, because our program is basically groups, making sure everyone's aligned, know exactly what they need to do, understanding deadlines. And then usually Friday is when I'll have a report for my manager and supervisor to kind of wrap things up, and also prepare for Monday to know like what needs to get done. So that's usually how I kind of plan out and structure my days. I obviously have like my to-do list that I write down all the time. Oh, got my pen. I usually have a to-do list that I write down all my stuff that I need to do, but it's really important to always have a to-do list. And so depending on the company that you work for, you can have different softwares that you use. So for like my team, we use Airtable as our main project management tracking and reporting tool. It can be Asana for some people, it can be a Notions, Google Calendar. Like those things are pretty much tools and software that you'll be using throughout, right? So just wanted to give a brief description. How is work-life balance? So depending on your team and depending on your company, sometimes it will vary, because on our team is an international team. So some people are in the European time zone, some people are in the East Coast time zone, and I'm on the Pacific time zone. So gotta find time. So that's why I sometimes have early meetings at like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. I try not to go like past 7 a.m. but it's usually around that's like the sweet spot that everyone can meet. And then during my evenings when I get to do like focus work on and what I need to do. So a lot of meetings towards the morning times. I would say work-life balance is definitely up to the individual. I would say you have to set your own boundaries. And this is an important topic I can make another video on. But if you don't set your boundaries at the beginning, it gets really hard to set those boundaries later on. And what I mean by set boundaries is that, you know, once, because you're working remote, you feel like you have to be online all the time. And I definitely feel that. So after 5 to 6, usually I'm just like, I'm gonna close my laptop, we'll come back to it tomorrow. There's no emergencies. I don't like being on call, especially if I'm doing a salary for corporate life, but things still get done, because I would say the reason for our role as a program manager is to save time, save money, and save resources to execute a great program and project plan. So if I can't do that for myself, how can I expect to do that for the company and the programs that we run? So, you know, I do a lot of time management, like focus time, break times, and then focus time again, but then also understand when to cut it off, or else you're gonna just burnt out, because I've done that a lot. So that's how work-life balance is. I would say average is definitely just 8 to 5. That's usually my time slot, is what I'll say. So if I have a 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. meeting, I'll probably end a little bit earlier. What other skills needed? Based off of a program that I failed at the beginning and then running 2 successful ones. So these are skills and lessons. 1, communication. 2, lead by influence. 3, prioritizing. 4, organization. And then 5, being a beginner. What the heck does all that mean? Communication. So everyone says you have to be a good communicator. What does that actually mean? Let's say you're sending an email, cut out all the fluff, do bullet points, and also section things. So I will literally go like updates, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, next steps or action items, bullet point, and I tag the people that are needed. It'll be Brian is gonna be sending this, Brian's gonna be scheduling that, etc., etc. So that way that it's very clear for people understand, and also to communicate effectively using either email or Teams. You know, how do people like to be communicated is really important. 2, lead by influence. So I was one of the youngest program managers on this team, and of course I had a lot of imposter syndrome, because I was talking to CEO, C-suite, executives, very fancy titles, and I felt like I was at the bottom tier asking them and telling them that I need stuff. No one likes being told what to do, but everyone loves to grow together and be part of something big. Rallying the team, motivating them, and also saying, look, I'm gonna ask for some of these resources, but it's gonna be worth it at the end. I'm gonna respect your time, and so I'm gonna ask what is needed and to not overwhelm you. So that's leading by influence. This leads into 3, which is prioritizing. So there's gonna be a lot of projects. People are gonna be doing different jobs and not really caring about the program. So making sure to prioritize things at the beginning of the week and then wrapping up at the end of the week. It's really important to save your sanity and also help others as well. It's a lot of two-way street back and forth. 4, organization. This will save you so much time. If you don't organize well, you're gonna scream because files, document, Excel sheets, PowerPoints is gonna be everywhere. So make sure you have a nice centralized area to keep your files, like SharePoint, like a cloud-based platform where anyone can access. Don't gatekeep, it's gonna screw you over if you have stuff on your laptop and someone says, oh, where's this file? And you're like, oh shoot, it's on my laptop. Nah, keep it on a file. Don't keep things directly on your laptop. Only use it only to download, but then make sure it's on a place where everyone can see and name correctly. It's very important. 5, I will say this is probably my biggest lesson, being a beginner. What does that mean? When I first started the program manager role, I basically did not know how to run things, and I tried to DIY, do it yourself. I tried to figure it out on my own, and it ended up slowing down the program, and basically we didn't finish things on time because I didn't understand what was going on and I couldn't speak the lingo. This is an example. So we have a part where we need to help startups integrate into the company and a product, but I didn't know what the heck a tenant was. I didn't really understand how APIs work. I came from a marketing background. So I tried to figure it out on my own, and it ended up slowing the process, and I learned my lesson. So now what I say is just ask questions. I guess it's really hard to ask questions you don't know what to ask, but the power of being able to ask questions and say, hey, look, I don't understand this. Can you explain it to me as if I was an intern? Is really important to do because people are willing to help. People just are very knowledgeable that they forget that like people coming in may not really understand. So breaking it down as if someone's an intern, or I just call myself an intern, but like, hey, can you explain that to me? It really helps out, and then it saves you such more of a learning curve because you could just, the more you ask questions, the more you learn. So let's get to the fun part, which is what is the salary range for program managers? So obviously if you're watching this title, you're looking to see it as a career path, and also of course financially be stable and grow your career and make money off of it too. And which is exactly what I did because I was in marketing, but I wanted to learn a cool skill set in project management. So that's how I first found this role. You can search on Glassdoor. If you're in California, like the tech industry, you can probably see salaries ranges from like 90 to upper 6 figures at like 150 and stuff. I'll give you, for all salary transparencies, my first internship was 22 an hour, which is 42K a year. And then when I was offered this role, I was offered, I think around 80 to 82. And then I was able to negotiate it to 92. I was a terrible negotiator, but I at least tried and asked, right? And we could do another video on that. And then after about 6-7 months, I got a little raise to 98. And so I'm very grateful for where I'm at, coming from a boba shop all the way till now. It's crazy to me. It's like I couldn't fathom like that was what I was able to accomplish, and I owe it to a lot of my friends, family, and also my mentors and colleagues that helped me to get here. So I'm very grateful for this. I would definitely say though, not to say like I'm ungrateful, but the salary range is probably towards the lower end just because I'm younger, just based off of like Glassdoor search and other people's salary ranges. So make sure to do your research and also negotiate. It's really important to get the higher end of the salary. I'm still very grateful for where I'm at, but I know that there's probably potential to make more, right? How to become a program manager is probably one of the biggest questions and interviews and all that. I would say it's a combination of these things: experience, networking, and a little bit of luck. One is to kind of gain experience of having a list of projects that you've done. So if you're just coming into this with no PM experience or project management experience, you can gain experience by whatever role you're in. I was in marketing, so marketing projects that I took on, I was like, hey, I did this, I led this from here to here, A to Z, and this is what I did, this is how I solved. When you go into interviews, have like 3 to 4 project plans kind of in your back, because most of the time the interviewers and like the hiring manager will ask like, you know, what projects have you executed? So it's important to talk about those experiences. Networking is important. Talk to program managers, reach out to me, reach out to other people, and really understand, because there's so many different styles of program management and project management, but it's also different in how each team kind of leads it in their style. My style, again, was like game plan on day 1, report on day 5. Education. So you can also gain more experience in education by doing certifications. I know like Google has like a project management certification that I was gonna learn that if I didn't land this job, but I decided to do more hands-on experience, kind of learn on the go, but I'm still kind of learning a lot. And then 4 is a little bit of luck. So honestly, I was blessed to be able to find this job. It was internal with my company. What I say is always do good work, but also put yourself out there and like what you want to do. So if there's this thing you're interested in, kind of talk about it. I do believe a little bit into kind of like manifesting stuff. It usually just kind of ends up that way. So I would say manifest your luck, put yourself out there and actively pursue it, and it'll happen. So that concludes the video. Thank you again so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. Again, I don't do a lot of program manager videos only because I'm trying to focus on the creator side and using the skill sets I get from full-time work to it. I'm very blessed to have this job to build me where I'm at and build the confidence and skill sets. But again, still learning a lot. So I'm not the greatest program manager out there, but I'm learning a lot and doing well. So yeah, thank you so much again for watching. Feel free to give a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe if you want to follow on the journey, and yeah, I'll be doing some more photos and creator stuff on this channel, but it's also important to know my background too. So yeah, I'll end this video like this. Okay.